The St. Albans raid is up in Vermont, and it's a group of guys who, there's 21 of them, they claim to be Confederate soldiers, and they seem to have been. And they are hiding out in Canada. And they come over the border into Vermont, and then they rob 3 banks, and then they take off for Canada with the money. And this becomes this international problem because Canada at the time is not involved in the war. And so they initially arrest these guys. They're led by this guy. His name's Bennett H. Young, and he's the one who kind of led the fiasco. They claim, well, we're Confederate soldiers, so we're not criminals. We're just being persecuted by the Union. And Canada lets them go. Canada's like, oh, well, this is like a domestic issue. Um, and then people get mad about that, and then Canada arrests them again, and there's all this back and forth about what's happening. The weirdest part is Bennett H. Young, who's the leader of this group. He's one of these guys who is totally into the glory of the Confederacy. His whole brand, the rest of his life, is how good the Confederacy was. And simultaneously, he is the lawyer in this absolutely stunning case that happens in Louisville. So in 1897, this guy, George Jennings, is home with his wife and 12 kids. He is in his house late at night, and he is accused. A group of like 20-something white guys, KKK, show up, and he's accused of stealing chickens and hogs. And he argues with them, and they fire on him. They fire into his house with his family inside it, and he fires back, and he kills a white guy who's like has a big estate, like a rich white guy. And initially he's arrested. He's only survives to be arrested because he immediately goes and turns himself into the sheriff. And then he's released because it turns out he was in self-defense, right? But there were never self-defense cases like this. And he ends up getting the lawyer, Bennett H. Young, in Louisville to be his lawyer. This guy who's like pro-Confederacy and was like robbing banks up in St. Albans during the war is now a lawyer in Louisville, takes the case and wins. He wins the case. He's like a landmark thing. Nobody's ever sued the KKK. This guy sues the guy who he killed, estate, as well as the other people that were there that night. And it was the first time that like KKK members had seen legal responsibility for these actions. And the lawyer is the dude who's like robbing banks in the 1860s.